What's up, guys? I'm CandidCrandell, and today I'm going to be talking about Pretty Little Liars Season 5, Episode 9, March of Crimes. You know the drill. If you haven't seen the episode yet and you don't want me to spoil anything for you, pause this video right now and come back later. We start off right where we left off at the end of the last episode in Hannah's bedroom with Allie telling the girls that she asked Noel to break into the Marin's house. Spencer is pissed off at Allie, and rightfully so, I think, because that was totally messed up. Allie says to Spencer, "You're a little loud," and Spencer responds, "You're a little crazy." I'm loving that it has not taken long for Spencer and Allie to start butting heads once again. You saw Tanner at school. She's trying to poke holes in our story. Your story. How much trouble would the girls get in if they just told the truth about what happened to Allison? Because legitimately, they don't know everything. There's still so many things that don't necessarily click yet. So anything that Allie is super worried about the police finding out is not anything that she's told the girls about. So it really is Allison's story, and she's just taken them all along for the ride on it. Spencer tells Allison that she has a surveillance camera set up in her backyard and that she saw her on the footage the other night. Allie does not look happy about this. Surprise, surprise. Gets all pissy with Spencer and is like, "You see, this is why I had to go to Noel, because one of my friends doesn't even come to my SOS text, and then the other one is just stalking me like I'm the bad guy." Why is she being so defensive? If she didn't do anything wrong, why does she get so mad at Spencer for saying that she saw her in her backyard? And why doesn't she say where she was going or who she was meeting? She changed the subject awfully quickly. The big question is, why is Noel helping Allison, and what does she have on him? Whatever it is, it's gotta be pretty big for Allison to be able to extort Noel Kahn. After Allie leaves the room, Spencer says to the other girls that she thinks that Noel might have been the one to choke Allison in her house the other night, and Emily defends Allison and is like, "No, I was there, it totally wasn't Noel." Spencer's like, "How can you be sure?" And Emily doesn't respond because, you know what? She can't be sure. Like I was saying, she was definitely on the phone with someone and being like, "Just get there, okay?" When she told Hannah that she was on the phone with Noel, she might not have been lying. She might have been telling, once again, a partial truth. She was on the phone with Noel, but she wasn't asking him to pick her up from a train station anywhere. Hannah says that she's sick of staying in her room because it's starting to smell like Allison, that even the doorknob smells like her. Spencer wants to know why she's been smelling the doorknob. Drunk Hannah does crazy things. While Emily is riding her bike, she sees Noel Kahn in his car. The windows are down and he's listening to a tape recording of Allie talking to Shauna. He's got it on full blast, no headphones in, windows down, like he's got no care in the world. It's like he's playing a top 40s radio station or something. On the tape, Allie is heard saying, "You have to meet me halfway. It's too dangerous and I'm not going to take any more chances. Shauna, please don't fight me on this." Where is she asking her to meet halfway? And what is too dangerous? It's interesting to me that Noel, someone that I consider to be fairly intelligent, he's just sitting out in the open here at night with his windows down playing these tapes. I wonder if it was some kind of setup. I'm not sure who would want the girls to know that Noel had information. It could either be Allie or it could be Mona, because honestly I'm not sure who Noel is actually pledging allegiance to these days. Ashley Marin says she wants to take Hannah and Allie to the mall after school to treat themselves to something new to wear to Zach and Ella's engagement party. And Hannah says to her mom that she's not going to the engagement party. Understandably so, I think we all get it, but Ashley Marin totally doesn't. I wish Hannah would just tell her mom here, because I would love to see Mama Marin and her stiletto heels roundhouse kick Zach to the face. Ashley finds Hannah's flask. Ashley says to Hannah that this isn't the answer, that it's dangerous. I get what you and your friends have been going through. I was here last night in my own house feeling unsafe. I understand why you would want to escape, but with Allison's kidnapper still on the loose, you can't be walking around drunk. You have to have your wits about you. That's a really great reason for Hannah to not be drinking right now. Lieutenant Tanner is questioning Arya about Ezra. Oh no, whenever the police ask Arya anything about Ezra Fitz, like I just get like, ooh. Arya lies to Lieutenant Tanner about the first time that she and Ezra met. She said that it was on the first day of school. To be fair, that is the first day that Arya met Mr. Fitz. She met Ezra at the bar. She met Mr. Fitz in the English classroom. And she's like, oh, well, the principal said that you guys had an intimate relationship after he was a teacher. Did you notice him maybe getting together with any other students? Like Shauna Fring. Ella is of course sitting in there with her, thank goodness. She's like, why are you asking all these questions? What does this have to do with what happened last night at the Marin house? Lieutenant Tanner says that they've got several open cases right now and they're just trying to see if there's any connections between any of them. Lieutenant Tanner, you are the only competent cop, and I'm very excited at how close I feel like you're getting, but it's also worrying me that somebody's gonna kill you before you figure it all out, so be careful. Arya says to Lieutenant Tanner he wasn't serial dating students. He wasn't some creep prowling the school hallways hitting on girls. No, he was not prowling the school for girls, but he definitely was stalking you and your friends and who knows who else, and part of the reason that he probably got a job teaching at Rosewood High was to immerse himself in the middle of all of the people that were involved with this Allison DeLaurentis mystery. So maybe he wasn't serial dating students, but he was definitely serial stalking them. Allie is talking to Spencer, saying she's nervous that Lieutenant Tanner is back at school and questioning Arya. She's worried that someone is gonna cave, and Spencer's like, well, it's not gonna be me. And Allie's like, well, I think that Arya is gonna cave. She's been icing us out. Okay, Allie, you're really the only one that isn't involved in everything that's going on because you're the one running around keeping secrets. Allie's dad is still not back in town because apparently when she talked to him on the phone, she played down what happened at the Marin's house so that he wouldn't rush home. I'm not trying to judge Kenneth DeLaurentis here, but I am a little bit, because if my daughter were kidnapped and held hostage for 2 years and then she was back, I wouldn't be going on business trips. Sorry, send someone else. My kid who I thought was dead is home and needs me. But instead, he's just like off on his business trips. Oh, you're sure you're fine? Someone broke into the house and had a knife and you guys had to call the police, but all right, I'll come back when I was gonna. It makes me concerned that Mr. DeLaurentis knows more about what's going on. That would definitely be a reason why she would be keeping her mouth shut if it involved her family. Allie says to Spencer, if one of us falls, we all fall, and A wins. Really? I'm starting to wonder to what extent the girls would fall if they were to tell the truth about Allison, because legitimately, they don't know anything. This whole series has been about the fact that they're like, where did our friend go? Is she dead? Who killed her? Oh, she's alive? We totally didn't know that. And it seems like everyone else knows the information before the girls, so why would the girls be the ones that would get in trouble? It feels like this is just Allison really trying to scare them and manipulate them like she always does, because I really think that Allison would be the one to take the big fall. Emily accepts the assistant coaching position for the swim team, decides to steal Noel Kahn's locker combination from the folder in the coach's office. That way she can get into his locker and steal his car keys. Emily is getting so bold and I love it. I mean, all of them really are. Emily in particular has gotten so much more confident. She used to be the person that had to tag along with everyone when they were doing stuff like this, and now she's just like initiating on her own. Ella says to Arya, you cannot lose your cool when she's asking you questions like that, referring to Lieutenant Tanner. I know this is hard, but sometimes we do have blind spots when it comes to the people we love. Ella's the one to talk. I think she's got a big blind spot when it comes to Zach, but perhaps this is foreshadowing. I have a feeling that Ezra's family has a darker history. I don't know how much he has to do with that and how much he's really renounced that. Judgment reserved, as it has to be with most people on this show, because you just never really know. Oh look, Noel Kahn is finally back in school. Interesting timing for him to show right back up, don't you think? Spencer goes over to talk to Caleb, and I absolutely love this scene. Spencer says that Hannah's been spinning out of control ever since Caleb got back, and Caleb says, I think you have me confused with Allison. It's true that it hasn't necessarily been helping Hannah to have a drinking buddy in Caleb, but Hannah's spiral was definitely started by Allison's return to Rosewood. Spencer says to Caleb, "I've always thought you were the best thing to ever happen to Hannah. You guys used to draw strength from one another." I think that that was one of the things that we all loved about Caleb as a couple, was that they empowered one another. They really truly have each other's backs, and right now they're both spiraling out of control and neither one can really help the other. I love Caleb. He seems very understanding of the A game, almost to the point where I'm like, wait a minute, are you involved in this? I just had that thought. I can't trust anyone, ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. Allie is apparently being forced to take earth science with a bunch of 9th graders, and she says that it's embarrassing. No, you know what's embarrassing is faking your death and then coming back and saying that you were kidnapped in order to garner sympathy. Allie says to Hannah that their group is falling apart and wants to know what's happening. They kind of started falling apart ever since you came back. And how would you know that they're falling apart and that they haven't just been like this unless you were watching them while you were away? I don't think it's a surprise to any of us that Allie was keeping tabs on her dolls while she was away, but I have a feeling that she was watching them more closely than any of them realized. What if she was using Ezra's surveillance equipment? He's already lent it to Spencer. Who's to say that he wouldn't lend some of it to Allison? Jenna is back at Rosewood. I really enjoy how Allison's like, "It's Allison," as if Jenna would ever forget your voice. Come on now. Allie says that she didn't know that Jenna was still enrolled at Rosewood. I came back a few weeks ago. No one really noticed. Then again, I didn't come back from the dead. So Jenna is clearly still not looking to be friends with Allison De Laurentiis. It's good to know that some things never change. Allison says to Jenna, "Shauna was my friend before she met you. How did you get her to turn on me?" Jenna replies, "I didn't. You did." This seems to be very similar to the story that Shauna was telling, where she said that she realized that Allie was hurting so many people. It wouldn't surprise me that the more questions Shauna asked and the more answers she received, I think she started to realize that Allie wasn't a person that she necessarily wanted to be helping. Which is interesting because there's something to be said for the fact that people tend to die whenever they decide to stop helping Allison De Laurentiis. Ian, Garrett, Wilden, Maya. What if she sent Maya into her house and a body is miraculously found once Maya's family moves in? There's gotta be something in that. Spencer goes to the eye doctor to get her eye checked, which makes sense after she got hit in the face with a ladder. But I kind of don't know why any of these girls go to the doctor by themselves anymore. Just watching their experiences at the dentist and now the eye doctor has made me very nervous to ever go to any sort of doctor's appointment alone. They dilate Spencer's eyes and have her sit out in the waiting room, and just when things are starting to get blurry for her, Jenna walks in with what appears to be another Jenna. We all know that it's obviously Sydney. Her and Jenna are being creepy sunglasses twins again, and they're wearing the exact same outfit this time. Why do they have matching outfits? Who's doing that? Ugh, ugh. But they do look remarkably similar, and especially with Spencer's eyes being dilated, she thinks she's maybe seeing double, and she freaks out. Rightfully so, because two Jennas would be terrifying. Emily breaks into Noel's car and finds an envelope in the glove compartment. Inside the envelope is the tape recorder and a bunch of photos of Allison from during the time she was dead, or during the time that she was supposedly kidnapped and held hostage. It shows Allison standing at an ATM with a man who is wearing a camo jacket. It's not clear as to whether or not she's with him or if she's just standing behind him and they're capturing when she showed up at the ATM. I am absolutely loving Team Spemely's detective skills right now. Spencer is in the exam room at the eye doctor and she looks at the chart and it says, "Can you see me yet? A." Oh, who is this crazy person and how are they doing this? Aria mentions in passing to Zach that Hannah will not be coming to the engagement dinner, and Zach makes a weird face and wants to know why Hannah won't be coming. Aria's like, "Oh, well, she just told me she wasn't feeling well." And Zach pushes it and he's like, "Oh, well, what's wrong? What does she have?" Aria's like, "I don't know, she didn't tell me any more than that." And I think in that moment, Aria is beginning to realize that there's this feeling in her gut that something is not right with Zach, and that maybe, even though drunk Hannah was the one who encountered Zach, sober Hannah's probably probably not lying. If anything, drunk Hannah tends to be the most truthful version of Hannah that there is. Emily comes to the eye doctor to pick up Spencer, and she and Spencer confront the two Jennas. Emily immediately recognizes Sydney and is not happy to see her with Jenna. Jenna says, "Oh, Sydney was my ride. Is that a problem?" Well, yeah, if Sydney's been going around saying that she has no idea who you are and you knew her this whole time, and now you're dressed like her, wearing the same sunglasses. Yeah, sure, you're just chauffeuring her around, and she also happened to text you and be like, "Hey, this is what I'm wearing. I would like you to wear the same thing as me because if you're gonna be driving me around." Doesn't make any sense. Jenna keeps answering all of the questions that are directed at Sydney, and Spencer says Jenna should let Sydney speak for herself. It's interesting that Sydney is okay just being quiet and being to the side. Jenna says to Spencer and Emily, "How long is it gonna take you to realize you're nervous around the wrong person? I'm not Allison." This is not the first time that Jenna has said to various people that the girls are nervous about the wrong person. Caleb asks Hannah about why she doesn't want to go to the engagement party, and she tries to dance around the subject until she finally admits Zach is a sleaze. Caleb wants to know what Hannah means by that. She says that he gave her his number and that he wants to meet up, but that no one believes her. Caleb instantly says that he believes her. Thank goodness, because Hannah needs someone to believe her right now. When he asks Hannah why she didn't say anything, Hannah's like, "Oh, well, I mean, it wasn't a big deal." Caleb keeps pushing, and Hannah says, "Well, it's embarrassing." Caleb points out, "Yeah, for Zach." And then Hannah says, "Then why do I feel like the one who wants to crawl into a hole?" I thought that this was a really great commentary on rape culture and sexual assault and sexual harassment. There's these feelings of shame that the victims experience so often, and embarrassment, and thinking, "Oh, well, I mean, it was probably something I did, or I am overreacting, or I misread," when in reality, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything to lead them on. There are just some people who don't understand boundaries. I think after last week, myself included, so many of us were like, well, why didn't Hannah just stand up to him and like shove him off and tell him no? When I think back to when I was in high school, if that situation had happened to me, I probably wouldn't have known how to handle it either. I probably wouldn't have felt comfortable saying anything, knowing that it was going to probably break up an engagement. You feel like you have no right to say anything. And I really liked that they explored those feelings with Hannah. Aria talks to her mom about not marrying Zach. She wants to know how well Ella really knows Zach. And Ella immediately says, "Why? Was Zach inappropriate with you?" Like, she immediately goes to that. That is the first thing she says. Red flags, red flags. Aria says, "No, he was never inappropriate with me, but maybe he was with Hannah." Can we just say that Holly Combs was acting her ass off in this episode and just killing it, girl. Aria notices that her mom said that right off the bat too, so she's like, "Mom, why did you jump to that conclusion?" Ella reveals that there was an incident before they came back to Rosewood. She doesn't elaborate on what this incident is, but she says that she wrote it off as pre-wedding jitters. But clearly Zach did something while they were overseas, and it probably involved a teenage girl. Poor Ella, she must be like, how did I let this into my house? Why did I forgive him? That could have very easily been what she was talking about when she's like, sometimes we have blind spots when it comes to the people that we love. Zach is officially a creep, we can confirm that. But the question is, did A find out about that and jump on an opportunity? I have a feeling that there's no way that A wasn't involved somehow. Caleb goes over to the brew to talk to Zach. Oh, best scene of the entire episode. Caleb confronts Zach about him hitting on Hannah, and Zach's first response is like, "Look, I respect you coming here. I think your girlfriend's just embarrassed. I think she took me too seriously. It was just a joke." Caleb says, "Well, I don't know. She's got a great sense of humor, man, and she really didn't seem to find it funny." Then Zach goes on to say, "Look, I didn't want to bring this up, but," he pulls a piece of paper out of his pocket, and it's a note from Hannah that says, "Sorry I was so shy. I promise I'll make it up to you." Definitely does not look like Hannah's handwriting, and I think Caleb knows right off the bat that it's not. And Zach's like, "I'm sorry, buddy. I was just reacting to the signals that I was given." Wait, which is it? That Hannah's just embarrassed and she took it too seriously and it was a joke? Or you were going off the signals you were receiving? Can't be both, so which is it? It's interesting that he used that word choice of, oh, well, she must have been embarrassed, because that definitely sounds like something that someone who frequently preys on young women would say. And that's why he does it, because he knows that they'll be too embarrassed to come forward. At this point, Caleb decides to do what we are all wanting to do at home and just punches Zach in the face. So gratifying, and Caleb's just like, it's okay, I'm not coming back for the party. And like a badass just walks out of there because he doesn't need to say anything more. Caleb comes back to the cabin and tells Hannah that he punched Zach and also shows her the note. Hannah freaks out and is like, I didn't write this, and Caleb's like, I know. But the question is, who did? It's difficult to really tell because we can never fully be sure if handwriting is indicative of a certain character or if it's just someone who is on set writing out the notes and it's really not necessarily one person's handwriting. But after comparing it to a few samples, it doesn't look like Paige's handwriting because the eyes are done differently. It doesn't look like Allie's handwriting because she tends to write in cursive, but it could very well be Mona's. There are a couple A notes that Mona left and her signature as Vivian Darkbloom at the Lost Woods that look somewhat similar to the letter. I have a feeling it was obviously someone from the A team or A themselves trying to capitalize on Zach's nature and move things along a little bit. Sydney says that she met Jenna when she was volunteering at the school for the visually impaired in Philadelphia. And she says that she was there the day that Allie came to visit Jenna and that she basically was the one to glue Jenna back together afterwards. But that doesn't fully explain why you're here. Sydney's like, oh, well, you know, like when Jenna found out that Allison was alive and coming back, she got really upset and she reached out to me and I guess she just wanted some support. That seems like a partial truth, Sydney. I'm sure she also wanted someone to do her dirty work. Sydney says to Emily, I didn't expect to like you. I didn't know you'd be such a decent person. This is so messed up. That leads me to believe that Sydney was told certain things about Allie and her friends, or even from meeting Allison, maybe she just assumed that her friends were all like her. And I think she's realizing now that these are not the people that were described to me. Emily tells Sydney that she accepted the assistant coaching position and that she's gonna be keeping an eye on her. Ooh, bold Emily is my favorite. She is like threatening people. Spencer goes to her parents' lake house to hide the pictures of Allison. She wants to hide them because essentially these pictures prove that Allie was not kidnapped and it will mess up Allison's whole story and essentially the story that the girls told the cops too. Why these girls go anywhere by themselves anymore is totally beyond me. Why they haven't taken some self-defense classes. I'm sure Jake's foot is all healed by now. Or even like get a taser, get some pepper spray, get a knife, something to protect yourself, please. When Spencer is inside the lake house, we see that there is a person sitting under a sheet in one of the chairs. We can see their eye through an eye hole. Ooh, no. Spencer notices too and decides to grab a fire poker. Good girl, Spencer. Pulls the sheet off and points the fire poker at the person underneath, and surprise, it's Noel Kahn. I'm not gonna lie, part of me kind of wanted her to poke him in the eye first and take the sheet off afterwards. After everything they've been through, I think I would have just been like, I don't need to know who this is yet, I'm just gonna stab him and then I'll figure it out after. But then again, you're more likely to get information from someone who doesn't have a fire poker in their eye, so maybe Spencer's right. Spencer says to Noel, we know you're helping Allison, and Noel replies, you know nothing. For once, I completely agree with Noel Kahn. We know absolutely nothing because no one is telling us anything. All right, Noel, if we know nothing, please enlighten us. Noel says that Allison doesn't know that he has those pictures. When Spencer asks why he has them, he's like, our friend likes to throw people away after she's done using them. They're not just pictures, they're proof that she was never kidnapped. It's insurance, and I'm going to need them if she ever decides to turn on me. Even though Noel might potentially be helping Allison right now, for whatever reason, he seems to think that she will turn on him enough that he thinks he needs some insurance. Spencer refuses to give him the key to the desk that she has locked the pictures in and says that Noel's not the only one that needs insurance when it comes to Allison. And ain't that the damn truth? Honestly, you want some real insurance, Noel? Team up with the liars against Allison. Noel says he got the photos and the tapes from Jenna's house, that Shauna had given them to Jenna. He was in there getting them moments before the explosion that happened in the 100th episode. Allie was the one who sent him in there to get the pictures. Whoa. Hold up. Didn't Noel just say that Allison had no idea that he had the pictures? So if she sent him there to get them, did he either lie to her and say that he wasn't able to find them, or did he just mess up? Allie kept saying to Noel that he was so lucky that he got out before the explosion, and Noel is wondering if perhaps Allie set up that explosion to happen at the Kavanaugh house. It would make a lot of sense if she thought that the pictures were there and then she sent Noel to get them. That would eliminate 2 birds with 1 stone. She would be getting rid of evidence of the fact that she hadn't been kidnapped, and she'd be getting rid of one of the people that also knew she hadn't been kidnapped. That would be pretty messed up if she was trying to blow up Noel, but then again, wouldn't put it past her. Arya comes to apologize to Hannah. Hannah says to Arya that she's not trying to defend Zach, but that she thinks that A might have stoked the fire. And Arya says it doesn't matter, Han, he took the bait. I think that that's one of the biggest things about A. They merely give people the opportunity to show their true colors. Even if it seems like they're kind of tricking them into doing it, 9 times out of 10, A isn't forcing anyone to be something that they already aren't. Interesting. No? The engagement party gets canceled. The excuse was that Ella got food poisoning. And Allie's like, who gets food poisoning right before their engagement party? Someone's not telling the truth. Yeah, you think? And you would know about that, not telling the truth. Lieutenant Tanner calls Ashley Marin to say to her that they have the man who they think broke into her house and kidnapped Allison in custody. She wants Allison to come down to the station to answer some questions. When Ashley Marin says to Allie, they caught him, Allie's like, who? Your kidnapper, girl. Play along here. This was your story. Maybe be a little bit relieved. Allie seems to be caught by surprise by this, which further, I think, supports the fact that she wasn't really kidnapped. She's like, oh, they've caught someone who kidnapped me? I didn't get kidnapped, who do I have? Ashley Marin says that she doesn't have to worry, she'll go down there with her. I don't think Allie needs parental support at this point. I think she needs a lawyer. Byron is back in town and walks into the house while Ella is crying and packing things up. Awkward, but this is a really great scene between Ella and Byron. It kind of makes you remember why you liked Ella and Byron together in the first place, but then you also remember that he cheated on Ella and asked Arya to lie about it for over a year, and then you're back to hating him, so it's okay. Byron says to Ella, I don't know this guy very well, but anyone who doesn't realize that you make this small world so much bigger doesn't deserve you. Was he the one that was looking at their invitation? Was he the one that slipped the note? Because if he knew that this guy was a creeper with younger girls, as many problems as he's had with Ella, I don't think he would want to see her get hurt by someone like that, let alone marry someone like that and bring them around his daughter. So he definitely would have had motive to try to end that, and he probably knew that coming forward and saying, I don't think you should marry him, wasn't gonna be enough. Allie makes a very strange face when she first sees the man who kidnapped her down at the police station. I'm also unsure as to why they're letting Allison watch him being interrogated. Like, aren't they gonna do a lineup or something like that? If they are, they've completely destroyed any of their chances at getting an accurate answer out of her. This makes me think that the police are letting her see this because they don't believe her story at all, and they're trying to get her to implicate someone who has nothing to do with it. This could very well be a trap set by the police, or it could be a trap set by A. As Allie's watching the guy get questioned, he seems to be verbatim telling the story that Allison told the doctor at her medical exam. You know, the one that she had on tape and asked the girls to memorize? Sounds like he knows it word for word, and I think we all know that this wasn't true, so now we're curious as to why he's coming in and telling this story. A would definitely have a motive to send in someone to corroborate Allison's kidnapping story if the kidnapping story is what is distracting the police from figuring out what A actually did. For whatever reason, Allie still hasn't felt comfortable to come forward to the police and say what really happened, so it wouldn't surprise me if A was like, I'll make this easy for you. You've got to lie about what happened, I'll give you a person to call the kidnapper. The guy does say that he hit her in the back of the head with the rock and then he picked her up and carried her into his car. This is strange to me because Allison clearly said that she watched her mom see through the window that she got hit, that her mom seemed to recognize the person, and that her mom buried her. There's no mention in his story of Allison ever being buried. Was Allison ever buried, or was that also made up? At the end of the episode, we see a person in a black hoodie, and they are at the eye doctor's. The nurse comes in and says that the doctor will be right with them, and that they can turn the air down if they're cold, because they've got their hood up, and the person doesn't respond. After she leaves the room, the person in the black hood puts in earbud headphones and starts listening to Allison's medical examiner appointment on their MP3 player. So somehow, some member of the Black Hood team has gotten a hold of Allison's story. I don't know if one of the girls accidentally leaked it or if someone stole it from one of the girls. My thought was that it would be very easy for Mike to steal Aria's copy. Much easier than it would be for anyone else to steal from any of the other girls. Let me know down in the comments any theories that you have, and if you have any questions, I would love to answer them for you. If you don't already, you can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Blogspot, and Instagram, username CandidCrandell. You can also chat with me live on Beamly every Tuesday during new Pretty Little Liars episodes at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, link down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again on Thursday. Bye.